Hey y'all, my name's Bryce Owens and I'm a bass player. Before I really kind of dive into how do I play this, Bryce, or how do I play that, how do I, how can I play a song? Before you even learn how to play a song, it's very important to understand the anatomy of your instrument, whether it's bass, whether it's guitar, piano, whatever. It's important to know what every component of the instrument does and how it works. So to start from the top, quite literally, this big block of wood at the very top of the bass, this is called the head. And on the head of the bass, you see these silver pedals and these silver knobs. And what they do is you twist them back and forth to get your strings tuned where you want it. And your standard tuning for bass is E. Ooh, that's out of tune, but it's generally E, A, D, G, and you just twist it and you get a tuner to make sure that they're all tuned up right. And while you're twisting it, it's either going to tighten or loosen the strings depending on what you've got it set at already. And right below the head, you have this white bar that goes down this piece of wood. And what that white bar is called, it's called the nut. And what the nut really does is just kind of helps the strings stay in place so they're not, all loosey-goosey like. Sure, you can move the strings a little bit, but it kind of makes sure they're not falling off or, nothing crazy like that. They give you a little bit of guidance. And right below the nut, this long piece of wood is called the neck. So along the neck of your bass, you obviously have your strings going down it. And you also have these silver bars going down it. And what those silver bars are called, they're called frets. So pretty much you put your finger at the very end of one of these silver bars, you get a nice, clean sound. And oftentimes you hear people call the neck of the bass the fretboard, and that's okay, tomato, tomato. Also to note the dots on the fretboard. And, you might be thinking, well, what are these dots for, Bryce? Well, the dots are just kind of a little reference for, whoever's playing the bass or guitar or whatever to kind of realize where their fingers are at and kind of glance and say, all right, I am 2 dots down, I'm on the 5th fret. And it just kind of gives you a little self-reference of where you are and, you're not going to mess up on stage or wherever you're playing. And there's also, in between 2 frets, you see these 2 dots. It's the only space between 2 frets with 2 dots. And what these 2 dots mean is you've gone all the way down the fretboard enough to where if I were to play this string open and then I were to play it where these 2 dots are, they're the same note, the same exact note, and that's called an octave. They're just different toned at different pitches, but they are identical notes. And so working down the neck of our bass, this big black piece right here, this is called the body of the bass. And there's a lot of stuff on the body, most of your electrical components and everything like that. So I have 3 knobs on my bass. Some basses have 2 knobs, some have 3, some have 4, whatever. But generally, there's some sort of knob there. One of them usually being for volume, and I have one for, how heavy of a bass I want to be playing. I can turn it up or down. And I also have a tone knob. And right next to my tone knob, I have my cord where I can plug up to an amp. And so to kind of move on, we have this black box right here with 4 little silver dots. And what that's called is it's called your pickup. So all it really does is just picks up the vibrations of the strings, sends it through the cord into the amp, and produces a sound. And that's all the pickup does. It's, fancy dancy electronic sort of thing. And this big silver piece right here, this is called the bridge. And all the bridge does is you can get a screwdriver and raise or lower your strings to your liking. Everyone's preferences are different, but that's all the bridge does. It's still very important, but it doesn't do a whole lot, and that's also where the strings end in, obviously. And then you see this black circle, not necessarily on the whole body, but a good portion of it. And all that really is, it's called a pick guard. generally playing bass, you don't always have to use a pick, and it's not necessarily popular per se, but there are some people that do so. For example, Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. But all it does is to prevent from scratching the wood with your pick or whatever like that. Because this dark black right here, as opposed to what the pick guard is, this pick guard is just hard plastic. So you're not scratching up your wood. So in case you do go a little far down, you've got some room to kind of hit your pick on the body of your bass. And kind of once you know everything, the whole anatomy of the bass, you can then you can ask those questions on, well, how can I play these songs, or what kind of music theory can I learn? What kind of music theory do I start off with? This or